Plant FAQs, Garrya elliptica. How fast does Garrya elliptica grow? I've noticed that my Garrya elliptica grows at a moderate pace. It doesn't shoot up overnight, but over the years, it's definitely made a noticeable difference in the garden. Each season, it seems to add a bit more height and density, gradually filling in the space I planted it in. I appreciate its steady growth rate because it allows me to plan my garden layout without worrying about it taking over too quickly. Is Garrya elliptica poisonous to dogs? As far as I know, Garrya elliptica isn't poisonous to dogs. I have a dog who loves to explore the garden, and I've never had any issues with her nibbling on the leaves or branches. Of course, I still try to keep an eye on her, but it's reassuring to know that this plant isn't on the list of toxic plants for pets. When to prune Garrya elliptica? I usually prune my Garrya elliptica right after it finishes flowering, which is typically in late winter or early spring. This timing helps encourage healthy new growth and keeps the plant looking tidy. I find that pruning it at this time helps to maintain its shape and prevents it from becoming too unruly, which fits perfectly with the rest of my garden's aesthetic. Where to buy Garrya elliptica? When I wanted to buy my Garrya elliptica, I found it at a local nursery. They had a good selection of native and drought-tolerant plants, which was exactly what I was looking for. If you're on the hunt for one, checking out local garden centers or specialty plant nurseries is a good bet. Sometimes, even larger home improvement stores with garden sections might carry them, especially if you live in a region where they're commonly grown. How to propagate Garrya elliptica? To propagate my Garrya elliptica, I used semi-ripe cuttings taken in late summer. I selected healthy, non-flowering shoots and cut them just below a node. After dipping the cut end in rooting hormone, I planted them in a mix of compost and sand, keeping the soil moist but not waterlogged. I covered the pot with a plastic bag to maintain humidity and placed it in a sheltered spot. It took a while, but eventually, the cuttings developed roots and were ready to be planted out. How to prune a Garrya elliptica? Pruning my Garrya elliptica involves removing any dead or damaged branches and then cutting back some of the older growth to encourage new shoots. I try to keep an open shape to allow light and air to penetrate the plant, which helps prevent disease. Using sharp, clean pruners is crucial to make clean cuts and avoid damaging the plant. I also sometimes lightly shape the plant to fit the space better and to keep it looking neat and attractive. I've found that the best time to plant Garrya elliptica is in the autumn or early spring. Planting during these times allows the shrub to establish its roots before the more extreme temperatures of summer or winter set in. When I planted mine, I made sure to dig a hole twice the width of the root ball and added some compost to give it a good start. Regular watering during the first few months helped it settle in nicely. How to care for Garrya elliptica? To care for my Garrya elliptica, I make sure to plant it in a spot where it gets plenty of sun, though it can tolerate partial shade. The soil needs to be well draining, so I added some organic matter to improve its texture and fertility. I water it regularly, especially during dry spells, but I'm careful not to overwater because it doesn't like soggy roots. Pruning is something I do in late winter or early spring to keep it in shape and encourage new growth. Fertilizing it once a year with a balanced fertilizer seems to keep it healthy and lush. I've also found that it benefits from a layer of mulch to help retain moisture and suppress weeds. Taking these steps has helped my Garrya elliptica thrive and produce those beautiful, dangling catkins that I love.